We are live from the Nashville Palace where the stars drop in. We talk about music, we talk about hunting, fishing, whatever we've got going on. Nashville Palace ties to just about every genre you could think of. Back for another episode of the Nashville Palace podcast with some special guests today. Barrett Hobbs is here. I'm Bobby Johnson. We're always having a good time because we've always got good guests. We've always got great people. And as far as introducing these folks today, Barrett, I think I would like for you to introduce.
All right, thanks for the whiskey. So on today's podcast, we've got two great guests, which we always have fantastic guests, but today we're really going to take a stab at what the Nashville Palace podcast is about. It's around music. It's the lifestyle of country music, the family of country music, and oftentimes it goes down a different rabbit hole, and one of our favorites is when it goes down whiskey, bourbon, tequila.
There's a lot of things going on today.
There's a whole bunch. We've got a lot to talk about with the great Mattie Jackson and Robbie Goldsmith. So it's great to have y'all here. Look forward to telling everybody out there in the world of Silverbelly and everything y'all have got going on. So thanks for joining us today.
So many different topics to cover. Miss Mattie, first off, it's a pleasure meeting you. I've never met you before, and I don't. Yeah. This whole town, there's big buildings in small town, and I'm surprised I haven't met you yet because we're all over the place doing things and have been for years. And you've got a lot of things going on. You have a book out.
Wait, I do? Yeah.
And it's
written a couple.
It's a bestseller. Don't you have a bestseller book?
That's what I heard. Not New York Times, but somebody bought it somewhere.
I don't know that I've ever sat next to a bestseller author before. So
it's a pleasure. I wouldn't over-expect. I'm better on paper than off the cuff, so we'll see what happens.
Well, you're doing good so far. You're doing great.
You know, and Robbie, when we started talking about having you guys out and we're partnering up with our properties, our bars, with the great product, the Silverbelly Whiskey. You know, normally we start these podcasts and we kind of we start at the beginning, but we felt like it would be better to start out now with y'all's joint venture, kind of start tackling what's immediate in the Silverbelly and Jackson world, and then we'll kind of rewind back and tell the backstory, if we will. So. Sure. Just kind of introduce us to Silverbelly Whiskey, and you've got a distillery. Y'all are getting ready to open in downtown Nashville. So maybe kick us off with what you've got going on.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you guys having us. Silverbelly is a Tennessee bourbon whiskey, obviously named after the famous color of Alan Jackson's cowboy hat. He's been wearing a Silverbelly Stetson for a long time, and it's about the most fitting name we could have thought of for the brand, and obviously he thought of it, so it works for us. And brand started in 22 originally, and fast forward to this summer, why it's obviously a massive summer for us is two big things. One, Alan's finale concert at Nissan Stadium sold out with a opener list that is hardly an opener list. It's more like 14 headliners is what it is.
Right.
And then also our big news is opening our distillery and Alan's museum downtown Nashville. So
where in downtown is the distillery going to be?
Yeah, so it's on 3rd Avenue South. So if you're familiar with Johnny Cash Museum, right next door.
Sure.
Yep. So we're at the base of the pedestrian bridge, which goes over to his final concert. Okay. You know, and then every major event that's going to be coming through Nashville for the next 6 years.
Just south of where the Johnny Cash building was.
One building south, yep. So it used to be Johnny Cash's barbecue restaurant. It also used to be called a bar called Show Pony. Obviously, now will be Alan Jackson's Silverbelly Whiskey Distillery and Museum.
That's great. I didn't put the name together two and two. I have like 6 cowboy hats, and my favorite go-to is my Silverbelly hat. That's my favorite of all.
It's the most famous cowboy hat of all time. If I have to
host a show or something, I'm putting on a Silverbelly.
Yeah, you might be able to get one if you stop by.
But It's got to be felt. It's always felt. No matter how hot outside. Yep. Just dripping wet.
You know, I never really thought about that, but when you think of your dad, you don't. Maybe the lake video, I don't know, on Chattahoochee if he had
it was a straw,
but other than that,
probably the one and only.
Yeah. And I didn't know. I was going to be one of the questions I ask is, you know, where the name came from, and I thought I don't really like asking questions. I've got no idea where it came from, and so I went on and cheated and looked it up. And I was like, damn, that is too cool. So how did you hook up with Mattie and Alan? put this together?
Wildly enough, Mattie and I went to college together.
Okay.
So go Vols. We connected through a mutual friend years ago, and I kind of started my journey with them is doing marketing for our bar down on Broadway, and then kind of graduated into helping Universal Music when Alan released his last album in 21. And the story goes is we were just sitting in the office talking about the album, and there was an empty whiskey bottle under the table, and I had been working in marketing and helping launch another celebrity spirit, and I was like, what do you got there? And Alan's manager told me kind of the story about what he wanted to do, and he's always been a whiskey fan and notoriously drank Jack Daniels, and wanted to make a spirit before he retired. And it wasn't anything out of more than just because he loves whiskey. It wasn't like, hey, let's see what bottle we can put our name on. And it was really more of a labor of love, and that kind of started it. And now, shoot,
here we are.
5 years later, here we are. So I jumped in head first. I saw it as an opportunity. Obviously, I'm a blue collar kid from Chicago, was lucky enough to go to University of Tennessee, and grew up listening to her dad on the radio. And obviously one of his famous songs is 5 O'Clock Summer. My first concert was Jimmy Buffett. Like, all these happenstance moments came about, and I was like, this is a dream. So jumped in head first, and never looked back since, and now working alongside.
So 5 years now.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
5 years since ideation. 4 years since launch, and in 2 years since being a fully, truly local brand. We kind of did a little relaunch in 24 with his last, concert series. Really, this summer is 2 years since we really started taking this seriously.
Wow.
Well, the flavor that we're trying today is one that our family and you guys worked together on doing a Music Valley pick. So walk through folks that don't necessarily know what a barrel pick is, or kind of how that works. Either one of you. Explain kind of how that went down.
Well, if you've ever been to a distillery or a winery for that matter, you go in, you've got those big rooms that just have barrels on barrels on barrels. I mean, when we say it's a barrel pick, it is literally us selecting a handful of what we think in this season is the best showing barrel, the ones that are truest to what we want as a Tennessee bourbon whiskey, are true to what Dad likes, which is, like he said, it's just like, it's a sweet, smooth, drinkable either on ice or in a cocktail Tennessee whiskey. And so if it's true to us and we think it's something that's going to be outside the ordinary for the store or the bar that's picking it, we give them the best options we can give them straight out of the barrel. I mean, the first time I did it, when we moved back to Tennessee, I went down there and I've worked in wine before whiskey. So I was expecting, this big grand experience. They use a long glass thing that they call a thief, and it's this whole production. And we went down there and they were like, here you go, here's a drill bit and what looks like a tiny golf tee, go for it. And I was like, you're kidding. And they were like, no girl, just stick it in there. So I drilled it in, it's spewing out like a tiny little geyser. You got to put your golf tee back in. And I mean, that's as real as it gets. Like, we go down there, we see what's tasting good, and then we put the ones that aren't back up to keep aging, and we bring the ones that are great to y'all, and we taste it and see what we love.
I think going and doing the tasting like that, we were just a part of a big tasting at one of the whiskey companies. I won't mention who it is, but me and my buddy Leith, and we'd never really been in a full tasting, and this was folks that were buying barrels.
Yep.
We were just guys that were there playing music, and we were invited to go, and we had our own table with all these different. But you start going through them, and you can really tell the difference once you start going through them. I mean, it's really nuts. Some of them were just on fire and just eat you alive, and some of them, you got like a cinnamon out of some of it. And then one guy was over here like, I got pineapple. I'm like, I didn't get no pineapple, man. But it just goes all at once. So then you kind of write down the number of the one that you like, and then 3 or 4 of us were in the same area, and we were kind of the same, kind of like we're all kind of brothers, we all kind of do the same thing, and we all run with the same crowd. And I'll be damned if our numbers wasn't almost spot on with at least 4 of the guys. There was 25 people in this room, but us 4 were kind of in the same one, number 4, number 5, number 6. And those were the ones that a couple of the guys bought the whole barrel, just the whole thing, and did a whole deal. It was, these guys had way more barrel money in their pocket than I did sitting there tasting. But we had a good time. Me and Leith Lofton were in on that and had a ball.
People don't realize, we've bought several barrels through the years, how much juice is really in a barrel. I mean, people think, oh, well, what do you get? 20, 30 bottles. It's like, no, brother, you get a pallet, and depending on if it's a 750 or a liter, there's a lot in there. And it is amazing when you put the drinks out and you've got several barrels, and it's kind of the same process. They've been in there the same amount of time, but you can really see the color difference.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, the first few times I went, I was like, man, it's kind of witchcraft. I don't know that you're really going to know there's going to be that much difference. But there really
crazy.
is.
No, there is.
I learned too that some of the barrels they told me this, that some of the barrels won't produce as much whiskey because they soak up
That's right.
so much of it. So you may have, say, 300 bottles off of a barrel or whatever, and some of them will only be 200 or a certain amount. So therefore they'll charge them when they have to pay. The final thing is when they finally drain the barrel, bottle them up, and that's when they get their final charge, because it could be less or more.
Yeah, everything can affect it. Obviously, you can get a leaky barrel, right? That's where the wood has a little bit of leak in it. Angel share, how fast it evaporates, and that's a lot of climate controlled, right? So in Texas, they evaporate way faster than they do here. Tennessee, Kentucky is technically the perfect climate because we have great seasonal swings. That's why it makes this area so special. One, the limestone water. Two, the seasonal swings, which means we get that breathing of the wood, and the whiskey goes in and out of the wood, which is how you get your flavor and your color. I mean, if you look at this bottle, that's an
dark.
amber, dark. This is an 8-year-old weeded whiskey that was distilled and aged in Columbia, Tennessee. I mean, this is as local as it gets, and you can't tell me it's not as good as any bourbon made within 400 miles of here.
No, it's fantastic. It's great. And I was out of town the day y'all did the barrel pick, so this is the first time I'm trying it. And
It's good. It's great.
I've got to ask, my clan later, hey, who's got the final? I love the last bottle that's never full. That's the ones I always want, because you're not going to get a perfect. You're not going to get a perfect batch. So somebody's got the barrel that's a third full, and those are the ones I always want. You do?
We can talk about it.
Okay.
I know where it is.
All right.
But it's
those are the good ones.
It's crazy what goes into it. And when we started Silverbelly, we had 2-year-old juice. That's all we had access to. And now that we're graduating into 8-year-old and we're about to have some 9s, it's cool on our side, and we're proud of that too, because as you guys know, that golden spot of bourbon is anywhere between 6 and 12 years. That's the window you want to be in for your juice.
Well, and for everybody listening, so I don't forget about this, we've got several of our friends in the liquor stores close to us. We've got samplings. Jackson Downs, so Freudian slip, it just says JD. Jackson Downs is Thursday, June 25th, 3 to 6. So if you're in Nashville and you're hearing this, and we'll throw it up on ads on the podcast that drop this next week. Yeah. So we'll be in front of that. Come out to the stores and sample and do the whole shooting match.
Alan Jackson's final concert ever. And Nashville Palace has 2 tickets to give away. That's right, one day for the last time. A bottle signing and ticket giveaway with the Nashville Palace and Silverbelly Whiskey. Visit all Nashville Palace social media pages for further details.
Well, and I think per what y'all said a minute ago about doing the tastings, at the distilleries and stuff, for people who are interested, I think they think kind of like you were saying, is like, well, whiskey's whiskey, like I'll kind of drink whatever. And I've been a whiskey girl since, we'll just say 21, because that's how Dad always was, and that's how he grew up. And I'll be honest, there's not a whole lot I'd pour out if you gave it to me. It all is good if you like whiskey. But I think once you start to, I always tell people, like, you can tell if you drink this if you like it or not. If you have 2 or 3 or 4 next to each other and you really go taste, then you start to see what y'all are saying is like, wow, these are really different. Like, this one tells me what I do like about proof, right? This is a real high, this is a cask strength whiskey. Yeah. Some people aren't going to go for that. Great. We have a small batch that's 91 proof, and it's a lot lighter and a little more nuanced, and it's definitely not going to hit you in the same way as the alcohol. Or you might want, like, our limited release bottles fall around 100 and that's 6 to 7 year mark. So it's just, as you start to taste, there really is so much nuance. Even though what blows me away, especially coming from the wine world, is what we have 3 ingredients, right? A grain, a water, and a barrel. And somehow when you taste these, they are so unique. They are so their own, and they grow and develop at different rates, like in the barrel and in the bottle. So I think don't count it out. I think I came in a little like, oh, whiskey's probably a little easier to deal with than wine because it's all the same stuff. And it's like once you really get into it, it's almost more fun to learn because the nuances are so small, and it's just truly miraculous that they end up with the uniqueness that they do. And so it's really fun. It's almost like, what do people say about country music? Like 3 chords. And the truth, it's like, it's the same 3 chords. So like the
pineapple.
Yeah. The talent is pineapple's probably not one of the 3 chords. But it's what you do with those 3 chords and those 3 ingredients that really make it something. So
That's awesome.
So we were talking about y'all's counterpart Logan earlier, and I always like to make sure that people know where they can get the product. So tell me what state you're in now and where do you foresee it over the next year? So if somebody's not coming to Nashville, they know where to go.
Yeah, it's a great question. So we are, majority of our sales are in Tennessee, Texas, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and Florida. We also have a small presence in Western Canada, cowboy country, they call it.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit up there. Michigan. Our major goals, once we establish the distillery and it's going to act as the heartbeat for the brand, we really need it to a place people get educated. As you guys know, you can walk into a liquor store and there's 400 brands.
Right.
How do you choose and who's going to know that Silverbelly means what it is and who it's for? They're not.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic to expect that. So we really feel that establishing the distillery will give us that education piece. And as we know, national tourism, everyone comes here, then they go back home, right? And so next step, our major focus over the next 18 months is going to be Georgia. Obviously, Alan's from Georgia, right? He's from Noonan. Up until recently, a couple years ago, Noonan was a dry county. So we wouldn't even been able to have a presence there, but that has changed. So we're really excited to get back into Georgia. We're looking for a new distribution partner in Georgia. The distribution game has changed significantly since COVID and everything happened. So we will be aiming at that. And then I'd love to fill out the Midwest, but at the end of the day, we go to where his fans are.
Yeah.
Midwest, Southeast, right?
Yeah.
But also we get emails weekly from Germany, from Brazil. He is massive in Australia. There's these places where we're trying to figure out how 4 or 5 years down the road do we get to his fans that want it.
Yeah, and that's an amazing thing about country music that a lot of people don't realize the worldwide global reach that it has. When you go to Ireland and even Japan, they're more passionate about country music than Americans are. Australia is a great example.
They're nuts.
Just bonkers about it, and more 10, 15-year-old country and back.
Yeah.
Porter Wagner used to talk about it. Bobby Bear.
Bobby Bear told me one day at a boat ramp, he goes, I don't care if I ever play the U.S. again. I'll go to England and play music every day of the week. He said, those people are just on fire.
Yeah.
I've got some friends that play, and when they go over there, they're like, those people are just different. The crowd's different. They're totally zoned in 100% on what you're singing, what you're doing, and they're in their own little thing. They really appreciate it a lot.
Barrett, we were talking off camera about marketing and just cool marketing things like my upside down hat, right?
Right.
One of the coolest things we do is if you make Silverbelly the whiskey of your wedding and buy 12 bottles, whether it's for the wedding or for the groomsmen gifts or bridesmaid gifts or whatever it is, we'll send you a hand-signed lyric sheet to Living on Love from Alan for your wedding gift.
That is super cool.
Very cool, right? Just a little fun thing we
Who
can
came
do.
up with that? That's a good one.
Me and Mattie did.
Marketing guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, we get to use the footage from her wedding with dancing with her dad, which is amazing stuff. But the coolest order I ever saw is we had an order for a short stint. We were able to ship directly to Europe. There was some tax stuff that I think has slowed that now, but we got a 2-case order for a wedding in a castle in northern Scotland. I literally went on Google Earth and I'm like, where is this order going?
Right.
And it was like, I'm talking way up by like Dracula's castle.
Holy
for
cow.
a wedding. And it was just this random, and they wanted the lyric sheet. And I was like, you're more than welcome to have it. So little stuff like that.
Really cool.
Try to separate ourselves in ways that are unique to us.
That's so awesome.
Well, and you don't want to disparage any brands, but there's a lot of celebrity brands out there. And I think what makes this one interesting, and there are some other ones out there, is that your involvement, that if you're really involved, versus just stamping a name on it and coming up with something, Kenny Chesney, really was kind of, him and Jimmy Buffett really pushed their own brand, and Blue Chair, products with Kenny was really the first one I really felt like he put his own money in it. He pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And, and it's great to hear how involved you are in it, and Alan at the beginning. I've got to ask though, when I was reading about you, I was thinking, how did she get tied up into the whiskey? And I'm a hillbilly, so I'm gonna mispronounce.
No, I think you can do it.
Where did he go? I spelled it out. Some Ray. How do you say that?
I gotta say that's one of the worst pronunciations I've ever heard of. You never took French in high school?
No.
Sommelier is a French word.
It's like creme brulee.
Creme brulee.
Yeah, I can do creme brulee.
I'm not much of a pastry chef. Sommelier it's just a wine professional. So it's kind of a crazy story in that. I don't know how much of the back you want, but it was something that, like I said, growing up, my parents weren't really into wine. My mom is now, but just grew up seeing her drink Kendall Jackson Chardonnay and dad drink Jack and Water, and that was kind of it. And but we always were around the table, right? We always had good Southern food. We always had family meals, and so food was always, I think, something that I loved. And growing up learning to cook, I still can't make my mom's biscuits, but I mean, who can really ever do their mom's recipes right? But so when I graduated college, I had a creative writing degree, and nobody's banging down your door to give you a job with a creative writing degree. So went into hospitality, worked in restaurants and bars, actually in Austin, just for a few years for fun to live somewhere else, and happened to be in a steakhouse where there was a lot of wine training, and just was really interested in it. There's so much academia behind the wine world, just in learning the grapes and the cultures and the laws of all the European countries and the climates and the terroirs and all this stuff. And I was such a nerd in school that I think I was like, okay, I'm 22 and here's something new to learn and conquer, and here's a bunch of alcohol that everybody's like, here, you need to taste this every day. And so who's going to be upset about that? Fell in love with wine, and then did my sommelier training there in Texas, and then kind of just tried to learn the industry. Worked with a winery in Napa Valley for a harvest, which was crazy, like such an amazing opportunity. Worked with an importer from Italy, worked at retail, came back here in 2014, and actually where I started learning about whiskey. Like I said, I always loved it. That's always what I drank. I joked that whiskey, was my love, or wine was my love and whiskey was my vice. Like I would go to the bar after a shift and drink old fashions or Boulevardiers and study wine cards.
Just getting drunk.
Yeah, there is a point past where you're no longer creative. You're just unproductive. But anyway, I'll have to say, came back here and worked at Craft Brewed on 8th Avenue for a couple years because it was right when they opened, and they were the first to have a beer license and a retail license and whatever. And so the guy who owned it said, we're good with beer. And they had a really great whiskey clientele actually for some of the original places to go for antique collection and those sorts of things. And they said, we need somebody to do our wine because we don't know anything about it. So all that to say, that's where I really cut my teeth into learning about whiskey, was just being there to oversee kind of the wine and spirit stuff. And then from there, just have always been never a collector, but just always an overeducated drinker, I guess.
Fell into it by doing your own thing.
Yeah,
Right,
and then
that's
took a
cool.
break from wine for a while and did some philanthropy stuff and writing. And then when Silverbelly started to grow, obviously.
You were ready.
Especially when we came back to Tennessee and we're thinking, okay, this is the true product that we want. We're back on our home turf. We love the whiskey and how it's coming out, and how are we going to make this brand grow when, the heart of it for Dad is not wanting to be on camera and on magazines promoting stuff. He just wants to put something else into the world that people love, that he loves.
You're saying Alan Shaw, huh?
Yeah, right. If you've ever done an interview, nobody, it's like,
you're kidding
you
me.
want to get the Alan interview, but then you're like, shit, I got the Alan interview. What am I interviewed him one time on the podcast I did and hosted for several years, and I was nervous because I was like, I wonder if he's going to give me performer energy or living room energy. Like, I don't know what I'm going to get here.
Modest.
But anyway, I'm rambling now. But I love wine and have
How'd
always
the
loved
interview
whiskey.
go?
He
That's
was
interesting.
great.
He was great.
He
No,
great.
he can listen. He can flip it.
I think I was the interview before, and I was like, this is
Yeah.
not a good place to be because no one wants to hear me when Alan Jackson's next, for sure.
The thing is, he's
bring
got
it in the
great
closer.
stories, and he's hilarious. Like, all my handful of girlfriends that I'm still close with from like 20 years ago, they always say, like, the best place in the room is 3 feet from your dad, because he'll never speak above the whisper, but he'll have you cackling the whole time with
That's so
anything he
cool.
says under
That's
his
a
breath.
cool line.
But
That
for me to
explains a whole lot.
you're not going to hear it.
Yeah.
You know,
That
so
explains a lot. That does, because being a fan or seeing them on TV or doing, you often wonder.
Yeah.
But that sums it up.
Yeah.
That just makes me even more of a fan.
yeah.
Of him. That's
and
so
being
cool.
injected into it, like everyone always asks, how is it working for him? How is it working for him? And it's just, the family's amazing. Obviously you can tell, right? And working with Mattie and everyone's a blessing. But like what blew my mind is like, you completely get why he is where he is, because he won't say anything, but then he'll say that one thing and it'll make you rethink everything you did.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, he's always like, well, what if you did this? And it's like, why didn't I think of that? That's all it is moments of that where you're like, oh, and then you put them all together and you're like, nope, this makes sense why you're the biggest of the big, because you just get it, and creatively, and it's just, it's really cool to be a part of, because it's like, oh my gosh, this makes total sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's good. You were talking about the kind of the fear of interviewing somebody. Sometimes, me and Barrett's, I don't know, we've been doing, going on 18 or 20 of these. And sometimes, everybody's so different. So you kind of worry before you start. You're like, well, is this person going to talk to me, or am I going to have to do all the talking? But you guys are great, because I'm enjoying listening to y'all.
Well, that's part of what y'all do so well on the show, right? It's like I was telling Barrett before, I was literally dropping my 2-year-old and 3-month-old off to mom and dad to come here. And he said, where are you going again? I said, the Nashville Palace. And he said, that was the first stage I ever played in Nashville. And I played Rose Colored Glasses by Johnny Conley. And he was like, what a memory. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like, it's amazing. Y'all do that every day with what you do on the show.
That's cool.
Well, and I didn't know for sure that the Palace was the first stage that he'd ever played, but it was kind of just built into the lore of the Palace and the history at that particular time with the artists that were playing there, because he was working in the mailroom at TNN and couldn't get a paid gig to get on the stage. And it wasn't that he wasn't talented enough to play at the Palace at that particular time, but we had Randy Travis, Ricky Van Shelton, Lori Morgan, and several of them. And a lot of people don't realize that Megan, that works with us and helps run the companies, one of her jobs is to book all the entertainment, or to help the managers book it. And, we probably have 170, 180 live music spots a week that we have to fill.
Yeah.
And, we get a lot of folks that say, hey, we want to play. It's like, well, who do you want me to fire to let you on?
Right. Yeah.
And when you put it, they just beat the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Man, we've known you for 20 years. This is our 10th time asking, why can't we get Johnny on stage? And it's like, well, look at who's playing and who do you want us to fire? So his slot, it was tough to break in, but he was very persistent.
Robbie's laughing.
What's that?
Robbie's laughing.
Yeah.
That persistent.
Yeah,
That's an
really,
accurate assessment.
my grandfather really was so lucky to have that group of talented people, and they were all great people. They were great people back then, and they've been part of the Palace family forever. And Alan has always been, as I told you, very generous in interviews and media things to keep that part of the Palace and TNN. And folks nowadays, unless you're my age or older, they don't even know what the hell TNN is unless you watch NASCAR or hunting and fishing shows in the 80s and 90s. A lot of that's, aged out, and especially a mailroom, Think about that. What the hell is a mail? Nobody has a mailroom
No mailrooms anymore.
So that was a great story. That was for sure the first stage you ever
there was a
played on.
TNN thing that popped up. It pops up every now and then, and it was your dad and from the audience singing something in the crowd. Was it You Can Be a Star or
Yeah,
something?
his
or shit like
original-
that?
yeah.
And he was in the
Wait,
audience, and they
what?
went to him in the audience.
You've seen that? You've never seen that?
I don't know.
seen
It's
that
like,
clip.
I mean, he had to have been 17.
Yes, in the
that-
audience.
He was in Georgia, and it was,
wow.
yeah, or was it
I
filmed
think
here?
he
Wherever it was
sang He
filmed.
Stopped Loving Her Today.
Stop, yeah.
It was here.
St. George.
Yeah, they shot that across the street.
And you know what's crazy is we're going through right now and doing everything to get the museum ready, and the hat he wore in that clip
In the
we have.
audience.
Yeah,
Man,
It's not a
that's
Silverbelly,
cool.
though.
We got
It's
a
not a
young man over
Silverbelly,
here.
no.
Not
It
quite
was,
yet.
it was like a
Yeah.
brown, like kind of curved up on the side.
Yeah.
It was very un-Alan
The
Jackson.
brown,
Yes.
yeah,
But
probably
we
from
have it-
Kmart.
Yes.
He used to work the night shift at Kmart. That's probably where it came from.
It looked a lot like what Toby Keith started at the beginning of Toby Keith's career.
Yeah.
He kind of had a smaller hat for as big a guy
Kind of
as
the
they
Marty
were.
Yeah.
Brown looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, not quite as,
Yeah.
but yeah, in that era.
Curved up
yeah.
with a little
It's-
curl inside, too. boy.
Some of the things that I've seen as we go through to get ready for the museum are just incredible. Like, you know, he's notorious for cutting off his sleeves earlier in his career.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't throw them away. He would sign them and give them to charities. So like we have some of these cut off sleeves with his signatures on them for the museum. I'm like, that's the cool. Like I want that sleeve. You know?
that's
Like,
cool.
let me just get one sleeve for my future
Yeah.
like man cave, right?
Yeah.
So stuff like that where it's just like, you know, he was very intentional and like we still have his first Harley that he bought when he got his record deal,
Yeah.
down to his first tricycle and his first Stingray that he grew up on. Like he's saved everything.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Anything you
That
can
is
ride,
so
yeah,
cool.
has been
That's
preserved.
what's nuts. It was like you were talking a little bit earlier about the maybe had a straw hat on in the Chattahoochee video. That was one of the coolest videos of all time. It still
Isn't that
is.
crazy?
That I remember being younger before I moved to Nashville, watching that music video, going, Alan Jackson is officially a badass to me. I mean, look at him skiing his ass off the whole time in that video.
In jeans.
It's just like
Yeah, it was an action video. Nobody did action videos.
it was unbelievable.
And now the ski vest is iconic, right? That cool design ski vest. So when we were going through for the museum, I was like, well, where's the vest?
Talking about the life jacket.
Life jacket.
Yeah.
Yes.
No one knows.
Probably at the bottom of Center Hill
All
Lake.
it was they, so I think they filmed that at Lake Burton. I believe it was in Georgia somewhere they filmed it, and that vest was literally just the vest in the back of the boat.
Yeah.
one
It
line
wasn't
around.
planned. It
On the
wasn't picked.
rental, yeah.
And I'm like, so some guy in
Yeah.
Georgia has this vest that is the
It
It is now
classic
a country
iconic.
music
I want to
icon.
watch
Yeah.
that video. You
Yeah.
like
Oh
it,
my
I wanna
gosh.
watch
I'm
it.
trying to
That guy
find it.
probably is
That's
thinking,
good.
there's no way this is going to be
Right?
You
Yeah.
know what it is.
It's like a young artist
Some
now. They
guy's
scrap it
skiing with a
together.
cowboy hat
Yeah.
He's
on.
on the tube with the guitar, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
rolling.
Oh man, it's
So classic. I mean, you can't. Folks have tried to top and make music videos that good, but to me, that's probably one of the best of all times.
100%.
It's gotta be one
He
of the
says
best.
a lot now. That was the era of music videos. Because, you know, it's
Oh,
like I
yeah.
said,
It was.
my
yeah.
little boy's 2, my sister's son is 3.5, and they like are on dad's YouTube videos because we
really.
play them for them. It's like they're used to watching all that stuff now, and they granddaddy, and it's hilarious. But they love it. So we've seen so many of them now that we haven't seen in years. It's not like they sit around and watch them. And he said, "I'm so glad to have been in that era where we shot for 3 days and
Yeah.
spent God knows what budget
Yes.
on these videos." You think about like Gone Country, they're shooting on top of rooftops in Las Vegas. Like what?
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, that would be a ridiculous choice
Yeah,
to do now with the options that we have. It's not a knock at current videos, but it's like, it was such a part of the whole career.
Yeah.
It was central.
Yeah.
It almost, at that time, not your dad's music, but a lot of the other artists during that time, the videos made them, not the song.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of, if you could Hollywood up a video, you could take somebody that was average or
Right.
above average, and the video made them a star.
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah.
and figuratively.
Well, I think we take it for granted now, right? Because like you think about in the 90s when they shot all those videos, unless you're going to the show that's within 300 miles that you're going to drive to, you're not going to see them, right?
No.
You're not going to see them perform.
Then I think there were channels that played music videos all day.
Yep.
So where it's not anymore.
Oh, country music countdown Saturday morning. Get
yeah,
out of here.
there you go.
Yeah.
It was,
There
you
you
had
go.
you had CMT that was playing stuff all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, literally all day. I mean, I remember CMT finally started having TV shows that was, and you were like, no damn, where's the music videos
Yeah,
at?
right.
You know, they all changed, of course, but music videos were something that was on TV at our house all day.
Oh, yeah.
You just flipped that channel and it was on. It was.
So you're a wine connoisseur. You're now part of a whiskey company. Your dad's iconic. Can you sing or play?
By the time we finish about 2 of these, you'll be mildly impressed with my karaoke, but nothing beyond then. No. I always loved music. I mean, and we, my sisters and I took piano and sang in the choir and did all that. And my middle sister is a great singer, and I think she was the one that could have done it if she wanted to, but I think we all just, I don't know. I've grown up with it such like a part of who we are, and I think personally, if I had tried to make a career out of it, I don't think I would have loved it as much as I do, and nor do I have the talent. Allie does. But it's fun to just know enough to be dangerous, I guess.
Right.
That's the category I'm in, with music, whiskey, all the above, I guess.
So
That's the way I like it.
with your extended family, do y'all have anyone else in the younger generations that have the bug and the talent?
Yeah, we actually, shout out to I guess she's my second cousin, Carlisle Wright. She is in school at Belmont, and she is opening. She's playing.
She's the first opener.
She is the first opener at Dad's show this month in June, and
Holy cow, what
is
about
incredibly
pressure?
talented and is has a heart for classic country. She plays at AJ's all the time with her band.
We're gonna try to get her at the distillery, obviously.
To play at the distillery too, and so we're all really.
She
proud
calls
of
your
her.
dad Uncle Hat.
Yeah,
What's the story there? I saw that on social media.
It's a great segue into Silverbelly with the hat. But no, so 2 of my cousins live here with their kids, and I'm about 15 years older than her. So when they were little and they would come over to play or swim or do Christmas or whatever, they just started calling him Uncle Hat because he always had on his hat. And he was like, I guess Alan's kind of hard to say. You just call me Uncle Hat. So, she's 21 years old, and she's like, I get to open for Uncle Hat, and I'm so nervous.
So how much live performing has she done to this point?
Tons. She started, as a teenager, like people do
Okay.
here, and now she's playing AJ's. Most weekends, as long and other gigs.
She's getting into it. I think her dad plays with her.
Yeah,
Brian, who's
plays, just for
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, and but I think she's starting to get some help in the industry and some representation. And she's got
Get her out here.
Dude, that'd be
100%.
awesome. And loves
be happy
writing.
to.
She loves songwriting, which I think is obviously
key now.
the heart of
That's the
who
key.
Dad's always been, and so we're really excited that's
And I'll
what
let
she's
them,
passionate about.
Let them announce it whenever they announce it. But I'll tell you what, the people that are behind her, helping her out a little bit, are some of the people you want helping you out
Right.
in this city for sure.
But
So
just imagine if you're her and you're playing at AJ's. Broadway's nuts and it's crowded.
Right.
And we've got a couple bars down there as well, and had as many as 4 down there at one point. But holy mackerel, this really. I'm born and raised here, so I've seen them all, since 73 forward. And there's not a concert that, short of Elvis coming back, I don't think that, Garth, he's come and go in town and, certainly done some big events for us after the flood that was massive, for folks wanting to be a part of it. And, George Strait, when the first final rodeo tour, when he played the last Nashville show, supposedly that one was a big one. This one's on a whole nother level. So to be that young lady, to walk out on that stage, there's going to be 70, 80,000 people. That's a set of cojones.
Yeah,
right
I'm like,
there.
good for you, girl.
Yeah,
I'm
wow.
backstage with my whiskey. Leave me alone.
It's got to be so
Yeah.
awesome, man.
That is just
Yeah.
crazy pressure.
it's going to be a show.
So
Man,
check her out. Plug for Carlisle. She's
What
the
a
best.
coming out show!
Yeah.
It's like killing a
Big time.
12-point buck
That's
the
gonna
first
be
time you
amazing
go
for you.
hunting.
Dude, totally. That's
it's all
hilarious.
downhill from here.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, she's not going to want to go
This is
anywhere
your
else
peak.
after that,
Yeah.
for sure.
This
Hey,
is
would
your
you like to
peak.
come out and play at the Palace? Nah,
I'm
that's
good.
okay.
I played Nissan.
You got 80,000 out there.
Any show I've ever gone or been like backstage to like a big show, like a Garth show or a show that big, I always try to get up there to the front or get up there close and turn towards the crowd just to kind of get half of that
See.
feeling that they
Yeah.
get, that noise. It was because that's how many people that are just directing all their energy straight to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's got to be amazing.
We have a feature in our museum where you enter. There's a hallway to kind of get back into the entry room, and we're going to take special photos at the final show. And on the right side of the hallway is going to be Alan playing this way, and you're going to be walking in front of it. And on the left side of the hallway is going to be the final show concert, the crowd. So it's like you're walking across the stage with
Isn't that
him
cool?
to get into the museum, and it's just cool.
Like a virtual.
Yeah, it's just
deal.
And to see, it's obviously be Nissan, but to see 65,000 people with the, it's just going to be a really
Well, that
cool
was a good segue that I gave
statement
you.
piece.
Talk about that.
100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just
You're
thought of it
stealing
'cause I was
my
like,
ideas over here already.
Tito.
yeah, when I saw the guy that
Car.
designed the museum, I was like, he that was his idea, and I was like, that's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Depending on when this is released, there'll be a party on Broadway for a live stream day of the show for people that can't attend the show. We're working on a kind of a tailgate for those that just couldn't make it, or unfortunate outcome of the show is some people couldn't afford it. It is a very, very pricey show. And it's simply because the demand. I mean, at one point we had over 500,000 people in the queue.
Isn't that wild?
You wouldn't
60
believe the phone calls I've gotten.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Can you help me? Who do you know?
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, buddy, I'm not even going. It's like, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, it's insane. So when the natural thing, and everyone says scalpers, this, I was like, it wasn't. It was pure demand.
Yeah.
When you have
One show.
500,000 people waiting in the pre-sale line.
Yeah.
And then they open it up to
nuts.
Titan season ticket holders for the first 20,000 tickets, and they buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you're left with 40,000 tickets for 500,000 people.
Yep.
Well, the shows last year were like that too. I remember having friends calling me, going, "Man, I tried to get tickets to that show and I couldn't." I was like, "Well, good luck."
Yeah.
Did I see that Belmont is doing? Tell me what Belmont's doing.
Yeah, so the Fisher Center at Belmont is live streaming the concert. Alan did it as a thank you to Belmont, and obviously Carlisle's involvement. She's a student there. Belmont, the Fisher Center will be one of the places that you can watch it that day live as a live stream.
So for people that might not know what we're talking about with Belmont's Belmont University, which is in downtown Nashville, is where I went to school as well.
Oh, nice.
And the Fisher Center is a fantastic place to go view this. So if you can't make it to the show or can't afford it, that'd be a great place to do it. And I'm sure it's a good fundraiser for the school.
100%.
Sure,
And for folks that don't know, Belmont is a premier music business university, so it's kind of keeping it full circle. So I thought that was a nice gesture.
Absolutely.
For y'all to do that. So I said I wanted to rewind, but before I forget, looking at the Silverbelly Whiskey label, did y'all kick around? Some whiskeys have the E in it, and some go straight to the Y. Did y'all ever
That's a good
talk
question.
about that?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally the Y is for Scotland,
Scotch.
Irish, Scotch, any type of whiskey that's over there. So American whiskey is with an E.
The E.
Yeah, and we're, by all definition, we are a bourbon. Whereas, obviously Jack Daniels is part of our story. Jack Daniels does about a 10-foot deep vat of charcoal mellow called the Lincoln County process.
Mm-hmm.
We do about 6 inches, so enough to cut a little bit of the impurities out of the whiskey,
Mm-hmm.
but we still are true to that Lincoln County process Tennessee whiskey. But by all standards and definition, corn content, aged in barrels, new American oak barrels, we are a bourbon as well.
Well, explain to people that don't know the difference between a bourbon and a whiskey. And Lincoln County is where Jack Daniels Distillery is, for folks that don't know that or haven't Googled it yet.
Right.
Yeah,
But to explain,
So to be a bourbon by federal, this is a federal law. You don't need to be a bourbon made in Kentucky. It's not
Right.
from Bourbon County, Kentucky. That is where it got, its notoriety. But to be a bourbon, you have to be 51% corn minimum. You have to be aged in new American oak barrels for at least 2 years. Brand new barrels. It can never be touched again or before. So to be a whiskey, you can be less than 2 years old technically, and also you could maybe use a different mash bill. So rye, a whiskey that's made with rye, which is usually typically 95% rye, is only a whiskey because it's not 51% corn.
Gotcha.
So anything can technically be a whiskey. Blends are technically whiskeys, but a bourbon has that strict standard of at least 51% corn, aged at least 2 years in a new American oak barrel. So that's the standard. So there's a saying that every bourbon is a whiskey, but not every whiskey is a bourbon. if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep.
So we have Tennessee bourbon whiskey. Does not have to be. That's the number one thing we get. You get those arguments sometimes, and it's like, well, it's not from Kentucky. I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. It is a federal law, and it's only because we want to protect it because it's an American creation,
right?
And it's so they can't. If you see a bourbon that's made in, in Europe, it's technically a violation of American copyright.
Yeah.
Well, when you say it like that, people are going to hear that and they're going to think, well, all right, it's American barrel and aged at least 2 years. And it sounds so simple, and it's like people have no idea.
No idea.
How
the cost and logistics that go into
God.
that.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a cooperage is where the barrels are made, and the cooperages will pull wood from all parts of America because if you only use a barrel with southern wood, it's in a different climate growing up, right? And then northern wood and western wood. So a cooperage will literally make a barrel sometimes of wood pulled from all different parts of the U.S. So it can have a very temperate middle, just very consistent because the wood is the number one thing that'll affect what's coming out of the barrel.
I've never heard that.
Oh yeah,
I've heard all kinds of other things about it, but
and there's special
never knew
woods
that.
you can make. You can get a barrel made of wood from other countries. You can get, and then you can finish and everything. But to be a true bourbon, it's got to be a new American oak, minimum 2 years. Obviously, longer the better. For the most part.
I have a question. This might be off the charts here, but are y'all familiar with the distiller's mold that grows on certain areas close to the barrel houses and
You
all
can
that?
see it,
Yeah.
You can see it on certain
It's a
buildings.
real
You can
thing.
see it amazingly.
You can smell it.
It's a real
I thought they painted these buildings black, and the guy
No.
said, "No,
Neighbors hate it.
It's
Yeah.
on people's mailboxes. It's on the sides of their houses.
Yeah.
It's
Everywhere.
everywhere.
It's within a couple
and once I
miles.
learned about it, I
Yep.
started looking for it, and it was it was on everything.
Oh, yeah. It's
expensive to get rid of, too.
Flagpoles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's mostly the bigger distilleries face that. Obviously Jack and whatever, but our place in Columbia faces it. They have quarterly. They wash their buildings quarterly to keep it away. But yeah,
And it's a
it'll
yeast
affect
gas
It's a
that
yeast
comes
gas.
out.
Yeah.
That comes out of the barrel houses as these barrels are aging.
Look at you, Mr. Technic.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
Wow, right.
Well, I saw it on everything, and finally I asked the guy that worked for Jack down there, and he was like, "Well, man, yeah, it's a whole thing." And he says you can even look it up. There's been lawsuits about it. People cleaning their houses and this and that and the other. And I'm like, how does that not affect your everything? I mean, because it's on the trees.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
The
it's hard to
bark
find
in
a
the
live
trees
tree with
is
it.
black.
Yeah, it's hard to
What'd you
find
say,
a live.
Rob?
It's hard to find a live tree with it. So it's that. I think that's where the issue comes in with the community. And I'm not an environmentalist, so I don't know the specifics. But
Yeah, I don't know either.
if you're within a certain amount of distance from them, it's hard to find a tree that's got leaves on it. So yes, it's an issue. It's a small.
These trees all had leaves on them, but the bark on them, was as black as it
Black,
can.
yeah.
Yeah, it gets.
They were happy trees.
They were yeasty, moldy trees.
They're happy for sure. Yeah. So yeah, you can see. Well, that's how you get. Also, there's buildings in this town where you can go around Nashville and see where there's whiskey stores.
But it's a full-grown smell too. I mean, we stayed in a place up there and spent the whole day and the night, and you can go out in the night and you can smell the distillery.
It's a
Oh, yeah.
wonderful smell.
Oh, yeah.
It is
It's a
an awesome
wonderful smell.
It's an awesome smell.
Smells like money.
Yeah.
And it's that's just all part of that. But yeah,
And mold.
I just had to ask
Yeah.
that question. I had to ask y'all.
That's cool. I've noticed it down there.
It's
before,
crazy.
But yeah. Huh.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Their fermentation tanks, when you go through a distillery tour, one of my favorite smells, just that
cool.
corn
Yes.
just grinding in there and it bubbles up and it's like, oh my gosh.
What a smell,
It's
yeah.
an amazing smell. That's how I knew I was doing the right thing, is when I got that. I was like, oh, this is,
The fumes.
The good stuff.
yeah.
You're
So-
reminded how primitive it is. It's just, there's so much marketing and all this glam around bourbon
Primitive
not
is
right now.
a
And
great
it
description
is. It's
of
just, like I said before, it's grains and water,
Yep.
and yeast. And
It's all.
And it-
George
takes
Washington
skill.
was a distiller.
You got it.
Andrew Jackson was
And a
distiller.
bootlegger.
They were.
Yeah.
This is American history, and it's not. This is not a new technology. This is. This is about as
I
old
left
as
some
it
corn
gets.
in a bucket one time. I was going to go feed some deer, and it rained on it. And
Didn't taste like this.
I'm a distiller. I found out I'm a distiller.
I mean, some of the
We'll
history.
taste that one
yeah.
next. Yeah. Let's call that the last call pour.
The
Yeah,
stories are
for
amazing.
sure.
The history of, and then that's why like the history of Alan is like just he has so many stories that it's like holy. Even the story of here for the Palace, it was like that's awesome. And
That
just
is awesome.
So cool.
That is so
that-
great. Mattie, you've written some books. Do you care to share your love for writing and
No,
your
I'm
whole,
happy to.
Yeah, please do.
Thank y'all. Didn't expect that to be a focus, but yeah, like I said earlier, I studied creative writing in college, and I think cool story. Always loved school. Like I said, always loved stories and was great with English and always knew I wanted to study that. But then once I got a couple years into school at Knoxville, they have a creative writing specialty. And when I was 19, Dad had an album come out, and I won't remember the album title now, but there was a song called It's Just That Way on the album. And it wasn't a big single, but it was one they released. And I just started thinking like, oh, maybe I want to focus more on the writing than like the English lit stuff and whatever. And so Dad called me at school and was like, hey, we're having this is going to be the next release, and they want to shoot a video, back to videos. And I thought you could write a treatment for it, since you like treatments. Didn't even know what that word meant at this point. For those who also probably don't know, it's basically a script for a music video. There's just no dialogue because there's no dialogue. So you write it like you'd write, like a movie script. It's just, 5 pages and there's no talking. So I said, well, I don't know how to do that. And he said, well, let me just send you some examples of ones and you can just come up with a story and replicate it. And I said, okay, well, aren't they going to have to pick mine? And he said, no, I'm not going to put your name on it. I'll make up a name so nobody knows it's yours. And I said, okay. So I worked on it and sent it in. And as far as I know, he put a fake name on it and they picked mine. And so I got to go down. This one they happened to shoot in Tampa. So I got to fly down to Tampa and be with the director for 2 days and like go over my treatment and talk with the actors and be there while they shot this video. And there was something about that just turned the page for me on how amazing is it that you can come up with something in your mind and put it on paper with words, and then it brings it to life for another person. And like for me to see it, be physically shot
so cool.
was one thing. And then to see what Dad has written via music and how it impacts people's real lives over and over and over again. I think that was the moment where I just knew. I was like, there is power in these words, and I have a passion and probably a little genetic skill for it maybe. And so that's something I feel in my heart I'm going to do at some point. And so after school, I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. Mom kept being like, you can be the female Nicholas Sparks. And I'm like, that would make me a great amount of money, but I don't care about rom-com books. So we'll see what I'm going to write. And then fast forward later in my 20s, I was married when I was 27 here in Nashville, and then was tragically widowed about a year later, boating accident. And when that happened, it was like everything that I had learned, the power of those words came back to life. And it was almost like God being like, this is why I gave you this passion, and this is why words matter. And so in the same way, I think I've seen Dad, write 5 o'clock somewhere and all the songs that people want to hear. It's the same reason he has the skills to write Where Were You? Because when people hear that, there's hope. And when people hear that and they know, like, I'm not the only one who's afraid and grieving and all of this, I had seen that happen in his life. And so when I was going through all that, the only thing I knew to do was write, to answer your question. And so I wrote a book about that experience, about loss and grief at such a young age, and being a person of faith, and how do you deal with that when something so awful happens. And so that was my first book. And then the follow-up to it was sort of a daily devotion for people, more of a tool in the throes of, going through a loss of some sort, to hopefully be a resource to anchor them. And so it was
makes you feel good.
It was such a gift. It was a gift first for me to just process, one of the hardest things I've been through, but also then it's a gift to see. Probably doesn't look like 80,000 people looking back at you on stage, but the number of women I've met who said, this is the only reason I can go on with my life now. And it's just because you're willing to share a really hard
That's
story.
awesome.
And
great.
and hopefully saw the example of that, vulnerability in writing and honesty in writing, and
Taking
and
a
I
negative
think-
and turning it into a positive.
yeah, hopefully for people, for me,
For
for sure.
everybody.
So I appreciate you asking that.
Yeah.
It's been amazing as an adult to listen to Dad's music and experience it as an adult in the way that he is as a songwriter, if that makes sense. So like me writing the books kind of felt like, oh wow, now I get how much it took for you to lay this on the line, in a song and put it out for the whole world to hear, because it's vulnerable and it's hard, but like it changes people's lives when they need it,
does.
the hard ones and the
I
happy
understand
ones.
it.
So
I moved here 26 years ago, writing music, singing songs, and I still write. And,
Yeah.
and things happen. I mean, I lost a dog last October, and I wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
'Cause it makes me feel better.
it does.
It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It made my girls feel good at the
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
It was kind of a healing thing. It's so crazy how music and stories and writing, it can heal so much.
Yeah.
And by each person, totally individual, someone can take something from something totally different. Barrett could hear a song, I could hear a song, I could take something different out of it. He could take something on his own,
Yeah.
about it. It's so great.
Well, I think it's funny too. Y'all talking about Chattahoochee in the videos earlier. Like so many times I've heard Dad say, like, I wrote that song with whoever, I can't remember who he wrote it with, and told them like, nobody's going to care about this. Nobody knows where the Chattahoochee River is. And he said, once we put it out, I realized like everybody's got a Chattahoochee River. It's
That's a
just a
great way to
different
put it.
river.
That's
And
the
so
truth.
it's like, that's
Yep.
true of any
Yeah.
music and any story. It resonates with somebody. And when I did interview Dad for my podcast I did a couple years ago, I remember asking, like, why do you think you've had an almost 4-decade career and most people don't? And he said, I don't know what to tell you besides that I always told stories that were true to me. And I guess they're true to other people too.
Yeah.
Like it was that simple.
So many.
There's so many places where it's hotter than a hoochie coochie.
Yeah.
Obviously here
Like
to promote
right here in
Silverbelly and
Nashville.
the Palace, but Lemons on Friday, if you haven't read
Yes,
it.
that is my book.
We all go through loss, right? And everyone does. And,
What's it
personally,
called?
Lemons on Friday. It's a
Okay.
Yeah.
nerdy analogy, but
No,
it's a pretty
not.
cover.
When-
It's a hopeful cover.
Yeah. When I lost my father, and Mattie and I kind of connected over that on her podcast as well, and my mom read her book when we were going through that and after that, and like Mattie wrote signed a book for my mom and wrote it out to her. Still, it's like one of her prized possessions was like a Lemons on Friday, because we all have our Lemons on Friday.
Yeah.
It's just
For sure.
Do you see yourself writing another book in the future?
I would love to. I love writing. I do think, I hope that's in the cards for me. I think, like I kind of joked about the Nicholas Sparks thing, but I think I'll write something when it's meaningful, to
gotta be-
write it. I
yeah.
don't think it's ever something I want to do just to produce.
you have the time, right?
Yeah, I have so much time.
Right.
Two kids
what
under.
time do you
Yeah,
Yeah.
from about 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. I have a lot of time. But I hope so.
Yeah.
I've seen the impact it makes, personally and through music. So
We talked briefly earlier about your mom's biscuits, and do you
so good.
do you see yourself doing something with the cookbook? Would that ever be in the
I think that'd be fun. I
as
think that'd
much
be really fun.
just from reading about your family and
Yeah.
then just the quick snippets today?
Yeah.
And you've made reference to the dinner table. It just seems like food and family.
yeah.
That would seem like a natural to me.
Oh, for
with
sure.
With your skills and
I think it'd be awesome.
kind of
Mattie Jackson cookbook.
Oh
There you
man, I
go.
don't know if anybody wants that, but Dad released a cookbook in the '90s, I think. Who Says You Can't Cook It All, which was a playoff. Who Says You Can't Have It
Right,
All?
right.
And so there's a couple iterations of that, but I mean, we're talking probably 20, 25 years ago. We could
Yeah.
probably do an updated one.
Yep. And
Yeah.
with you having your skill set, you probably
It'd be fun.
tell the stories and weave it through the
Yeah.
food and the family.
Throw a cocktail pairing in.
Yes.
Couple
Sounds
cocktails,
great to
see?
me.
Have a little Silverbelly
Yeah.
with a medium rare fillet.
If we need some
Just cut
tasters,
fillet.
we're
Put me,
calling
a little,
y'all.
put me a little note in there.
Yeah.
Hey, good idea, Barrett.
It'll be dedicated to you.
So, I often ask this, usually to a musician. I'll say, hey, what in your family, what's your first remembrance of music? And I'm always curious when someone has a father or a mom that's as, famous as your dad is, what's a story the first time that it kind of clicked for you that, your dad wasn't just selling cars on a Saturday. He was what he is.
Yeah. I think one of the earliest, to answer it the way you asked, was there's a song called Job Description on, again, one of the early albums. I don't know which one, that Dad wrote for me and my sister. My baby sister at the time wasn't born, so I was probably 5. That says, I wrote this job description to tell you what I do when I'm not there. And I can't even, I'm 36 years old and I cry when I listen to it, but it's like him telling us why he left all the time. And it was, I will never forget the phrase, all they would tell us was, Daddy's going to sing for the people and he'll be back. And it was always, he's going to sing for the people. And so it was like, that was, I think, the first memory of knowing at least what he was doing was a scale that over and over he was going to sing for all these people who wanted to show up to hear him sing. So it's like that.
That's not what I was expecting.
Yeah, no,
but now that you
I
say
know.
that, with Alan, it kind of makes sense that he expressed himself through a song.
Right.
So
wasn't,
it makes a complete sense once you.
Yeah,
when you
it's
say
not.
that.
It's not a big, grand, exciting answer, but I remember that very viscerally as a kid, and then that song being so poignant for us. And then the other one is 9/11. I kind of mentioned earlier, that was I was 11 years old when that happened, and so I was very aware of what was going on, and remember that day or that night after, I guess. You're coming home from school and everyone's trying to understand what's even going on. And then I don't know if it was the next day or that next weekend, Dad getting my mom and me, Allie was 8 and Danny was like 4. So they weren't quite of the age to be a part of it, but getting Mom and me and saying, y'all come in my study, I need to play something for you. And saying which he said in interviews, he said, I woke up in the middle of the night and basically this whole song came to me. I didn't try to write it, but I played it into my recorder and I want y'all to listen to it because I think it's meaningful, but I'm very afraid to put it in the world for people to think I'm capitalizing on a tragedy.
Fast.
Yeah. And I remember sitting in his study in the leather chair and seeing that, 5-inch long recorder and hearing it. And him being like, I don't know what to do with this, but it wasn't from me. And that was, talk about a, life-changing experience. And then to see what happened with it and just the humility and honestly resistance he kind of had to put that out because he didn't want to look like he was capitalizing.
on
Changed people's
something.
lives.
And now
That
to see it, right? Every
it
show
helped
and
people.
thinking about
That
Nissan
song had to
Stadium
help
and
so many people.
and that's
Therapeutic.
that is
Truly.
a once in a lifetime thing to experience.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
And that you were a part of it and he was home and at that particular time. And that's a personal, cool story.
Yeah.
I
Thanks
think
for
about
sharing that.
Before we came in here today, I thought about the song Drive. Rusty old floors, hot on my
Yep.
feet. That was y'all.
That was
wasn't it?
us.
That was
yeah.
y'all.
That's my favorite.
Franklin, Tennessee, man. That was a
yeah.
beat up old
I
Jeep.
knew it.
And
I was like, I'm gonna have to bring
Oh,
that
man.
up. I almost
No.
forgot about it until you started talking about that song.
he had us driving as early as we could. I said
Old
my
Jeep?
baby sister
Old
was
Jeep?
4. We had the Jeep, and then we had golf carts because they were safer because they could be electric. But he had them jacked up on big tires, looked like monster trucks, and they were painted with whatever. And my little baby sister got one when she was 4 years old, and he had them extend the wheel this way, extend the wheel this way, extend the pedals this way, so she could reach it at 4 and drive it around our farm. And I'm like, now I look back as a mom, and I'm like, I can't believe my mom didn't dump it in the Harpeth River.
That's
I can't
so
believe she let
cool.
him do that. But
That is funny.
that's all true. We just rode the Jeep and right by the river.
I didn't realize that y'all went to college together. So I'm always interested in how things, you said the word, I use it a lot, happenstance. So you grow up, you go to high school, you go to University of Tennessee. what drunken bar were y'all in when y'all met? What happened?
No, shout out Jacqueline Carter,
Yeah.
who is one of Mattie's closest friends and a good friend of mine. Jacqueline and I worked the front desk of the rec center together, where you'd check basketballs out to people coming into the gym.
Yep.
And that's how Jacqueline and I met. Now, fast forward, almost 20 years, which
Yeah.
is scary.
Yeah.
Jacqueline and I we're all good friends, and Jacqueline now has made an amazing career in PR.
Yep.
And has done projects for Silverbelly, has done projects for Alan. Still really close friends with Mattie, and she connected us, and she got me the gig doing marketing for AJ's, and it went really well. And then that got me the gig doing marketing, helping with the last album, and then I was just in the right place, right time. So
Yep.
yeah, one of those things is like, who would have thought the front desk of the rec center
Right.
at University of Tennessee would have led me to
It's
this.
always a small thing.
And I was coming in to play intramural basketball, so he probably checked me out of basketball and just didn't even know where we'd be.
Oh yeah, Maddie.
15 years
She was a
later.
high school basketball star.
Let me tell you, we're talking
were a
about small
hoopster.
town. My least favorite thing that happens now, when we did the tasting with y'all's team that you couldn't be at, Barrett, to pick this bottle. And one of the guys came in and he was like, I remember seeing you play basketball at Donaldson Christian Academy. And I said, listen, I'm a lot kinder than I looked on the basketball court 20 years ago. That is not putting my best foot forward.
you go to
Please
DCA?
forgive me. No, I went to FRA, but we
Okay.
always played DCA.
Right.
And yeah, it was pretty scrappy little basketball player. But I hate when people say that, because I'm like, I swear I'm a kind person. Like, give me the
Until you
benefit
lace
of the
them
doubt
up.
here. Yeah, I'm not going to elbow you in the face.
I can't say enough that I learned so much just by us sitting here talking, and now I'm a fan. I mean, I'm totally all about what you guys are doing. And
Thank you. Working with you and your story here in the Palace, and I think people assume that Silverbelly is part of some big conglomerate, or we're a team
I
of
didn't
less
know it
than
was a
5
hat
people.
until
Yeah,
you said it.
truly.
Everything really in his career is done by one office and a
Yeah.
couple people. We
Yeah.
all,
Right.
I work with his manager on a daily basis, sometimes too much.
Who's been his manager for almost 40 years.
Yeah. So we are a family business. We are not swimming in venture capital, anything.
Right.
We make frugal decisions, and literally myself, Mattie, Logan, we have one employee in Texas, Oklahoma. His name's Riley. He's a whiskey nerd.
Oh, yeah.
And that is our team. And we're lucky enough now that we've built it to a point where we can open this downtown place, and it's really going to be our thing. But we are,
Well, that's what's
literally,
gonna
I
make it
created
work.
that
Yeah.
sticker that's on the bottle in Canva a couple weeks ago, because
Yep.
that's how small we are still.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, we've always been an independent family-owned business. We've had a lot of them. Well, when you're not really good at anything, you better do a lot. And that's our story, and stack it up. So do the best you can. And I enjoyed the marketing calls that we had. And, for our properties and folks that travel to Nashville, we've already talked about the liquor stores, but Bootleggers on Broadway, Doc Holliday's downtown, the Nashville Palace, Scoreboard. And as soon as you get a license in Alabama, I'm right on the Florida-Alabama line.
I love it.
But I'm
All right.
technically in Alabama
Okay.
at the Tiki and Raw Bar and Barometer Waterfront Grill. You get in Alabama and they'll be on the shelves down there. And
Thank
I'm
you.
looking forward to, I know that's a big push for the concert coming up. But after that, it's so easy to work with what you described, where there's not the hedge funds and 45 levels of lawyers and all that. It's like, hey, let's do a concert series. And everybody's like, yeah, this sounds like a good idea. Those are the most fun things to do. This is my 30th year in the bar business that I've had a license. And those are the fun times. Those are the brands that make sense.
Yep.
And I think it's a reflection of Alan's life. There's very few artists, and everybody kind of goes about it a different way. You've got Dolly Parton that is, a global mega superstar, and she pushes her brand and she's out there and it works for Dolly. And then you've got more like Alan and George Strait, where they're more reserved and kind of in the background. And I don't know that doesn't make this brand in anything that your dad's ever done. You're not selling something that's not real. It's authentic.
It's authentically him.
And
Yeah.
and I think that will bode well for the brand. That's just not a splash and go.
Some of those
that
bigger
means a lot.
stores they don't recognize that. Like, he's not the guy that's going to Specs in Texas and signing for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I tell him never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not
Yeah.
who he is. It's not who we are. We are
Yeah.
a brand juice first. Just happens to be that it's a family business, and Alan loves drinking it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit different approach, but it's his
Well, it's
approach.
what we
It's
enjoy
honest,
do.
yeah.
Well, that's a blessing to have you guys doing what you're doing. Y'all put things together, you promote it, you're out traveling with it, you're out doing your thing. I think it's amazing. I just drank a whole glass and I feel awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the best endorsement we can give.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's easy when you have the talent that the family has, and Mattie and her dad, and then for me, it's like I get to wake up every day and I work for Alan Jackson. Like how
Pretty
can
good
life
day.
get
That's
any
so
better?
good.
So it's crazy.
I got to get one of them hats. I'm going to chase y'all down
We
until I
got
get
you.
one.
We absolutely
I
got
love
you.
it.
As we kind of wrap today, is there anything that we've not covered? I mean, I don't think we have to advertise the concert. I think they kind of know where and
Yep,
when that is.
It's pretty out there.
The museum and distillery, I know we talked about it. I don't remember if we said the date or the month that it'll be open.
Yeah, it'll open late June, so it'll open
Okay.
concert weekend. So there's a chance that by the time people are hearing this, it'll be open.
Okay.
Yeah, very excited. We have a special limited time bottle that's coming out for the concert. So, and your stores have always supported our LTOs. We call them limited time offers. So while obviously this barrel pick needs to be on the radar as well, those will come out. It's our finale blend.
Yep.
So it's Mattie's first blended whiskey,
Okay.
which is going to be amazing. It's an awesome blend. So that'll come out. It's a commemorative release, especially for the last show. And then the one little Easter egg thing we do is every year on Alan's birthday, which is October 17th, we release a special bottle. We only make 1,958 bottles. Very hard to find. All of your stores get those.
Yep.
Thank you.
So when we come out, that's something that people look forward to, and it's getting a nice little name for itself.
Yeah.
It's called Last Call.
Great name.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
October 17th. I didn't realize that was his
Yeah.
birthday. I'm a 10-10er.
we got a lot of fun stuff coming, and obviously appreciate y'all and want to
Yeah.
continue building it, because
Thank y'all.
if he got his start here, so should we.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Amen.
it's kind of a natural.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks so much. It was a
Yeah,
pleasure
thank you for
talking
having
with
us.
y'all and hearing the stories and the background on everything.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, real
We're
good,
glad to
Really
be here.
good. Yeah, it was an honor having y'all.
Thank y'all for being here.
Cheers.
Another episode of the Nashville Palisade where the stars drop in. They dropped in today. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
That's a wrap.